What is up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. You are watching Upstate Maverick. My name is Nick, and today we are going to be cutting down a couple trees in the backyard. I got this big hill behind my house, and it backs right up to like a 600-acre forest. And I got a couple trees kind of leaning over my house that are dead, and I need to cut some smaller ones down to make sure I have a good clean path to drop these trees. Yeah, we're gonna go sharpen the chainsaw and get our gear on, protective gear on, and we're gonna head out to the backyard. It's a little windy out, so we're just gonna cut a couple of the small trees. I don't wanna take any risks today, but I gotta get some of them cleared out of the way. We'll probably buck them up, do a little firewooding, and that'll be the video today. So this is my only chainsaw that I own. I mean, I have a couple of little electric Milwaukee ones, but I have this still 271. Let's get this case out of the way. And this thing has been really awesome. It's a Farm Boss version, and it's got a 20-inch bar on it. Other than that, I've done absolutely nothing to it. It starts on the first pull every time. Not the first pull, but very easily start sequence, and I just love this saw. I've run a couple just aftermarket chains on it, and it's a little dirty, and just I haven't taken care of it since the last time I used it. So I want to just kind of sharpen the chain before I take it outside, and just kind of get it prepped up for doing a little bit of work. So just gonna put it on the vise here. I don't know if you guys use those 3-in-1 or 2-in-1 sharpeners from Steel, but if you do, I think that they're really great and they're worth the money. They're about 40 bucks. I think I paid about 40 bucks for it, and it gets the chain really sharp, and it's super quick and simple, and it works well enough for me, and I don't need it to be perfect, so it's kind of what I'm happy with. So I kind of feel like I'm risking getting slaughtered in the comments by sharpening my chainsaw on a YouTube video, but I actually really like these Still 2-in-1 sharpeners. They knock down your rakers, and they file your teeth pretty well. So this chain's already relatively sharp. I'm only going to do like 2 passes on each tooth, and that's going to be it. I've always kind of done this with soft jaws in the vise, and if I don't have a vise, I really don't love sharpening my chainsaw. But I kind of just loosen this up, and this is kind of just the normal procedure of what I do. I kind of get it angled, clamp that down in there, make sure the brake's off, and I should be able to, I didn't get it too tight. It's gonna be kind of tough working around the camera. So this is kind of what I do for a setup. I basically just take a Sharpie, put a mark on one of the teeth. I'm gonna be moving this direction with the chain, so that's gonna be the last one I do. So I'm gonna basically put this one here. This feels really dirty. I don't know if you could see that, but this is not moving very well. So I'm probably, I'll just shut my light off. I'm probably gonna have to pop the chain off and clean out the guide bar a little bit, but these always mess me up. I kind of have to get this figured out a little bit, but the raker's in the front. So basically we should be filing just like that. So basically what this does is this has a flat file that'll knock down the raker, and I'll see if I zoom in a little bit. Kind of see the raker tooth, and then, or the depth gauge, whatever that's supposed to be called. I know that there's some minutia there, but, and then there's a round file that kind of gets the tooth filed down. So I think these work great. I know that they're not for, you know, pro arborists, but that's not me. So kind of just do this here. I'm just gonna do 3 passes. This chain's already relatively sharp, so I'm not worried about this being perfect. Really helps to have a vise sharpen a chainsaw. Okay, so here I am at my Sharpied tooth. Kind of just hit this one last. Like I said, we're just doing 3-4 passes. Doesn't have to be perfect. So now I gotta flip sides. So I like to keep this direction that I'm filing the same. So I think if I just spin my saw around here. So again, Just want to mark a tooth that we're going to use last. Now we got to flip the file over. This always gets a little tricky. It's always one direction that's easy. The other is not as easy. That tooth was pretty mangled. Just because I felt like this wasn't spinning very well, I'm just going to start this up, make sure it spins okay. So steel start sequence is pretty easy. You basically hold in the safety and the trigger, push the choke all the way down so it's all the way engaged. Make sure your brake is off. And you give it a pull until you hear it try to start. It's always the third pull. Put it up to half choke. Leave it there. Make sure the brake's off and it's going to start up. Once you blip the trigger, I don't know how this sounds with this mic, but once you blip the trigger, it'll de-engage the choke. I always make sure I put the brake back on. Probably couldn't hear me very well with the microphone right, blasting next to the chainsaw. But once you blip the trigger, basically it'll come right out of choke mode and it'll run. And this thing's not very cold-blooded, so once it's running, it stays running for me very well. I've taken very good care of this chainsaw. It might not look like it, so I left it a little dirty the last time I used it, but I try to keep good care of it because I know that I want it to just start when I want to use it, and I don't want to have to monkey with it. So start sequence always stays. I make sure I keep up on the maintenance, and it's been a really good saw for me. Just a little Farm Boss 271, and it cuts a lot of wood. I don't need a giant saw. Man, I would love a 500i, but I'm not at that point yet. So I'm gonna top this up with fuel, bar oil. I'll show you guys what I got for that because it's really makes a big difference. I'll tell you what, it is a little bit of a bonus to have this outfeed table on the splitter because when I pull it in the shop, it's just an extra table I have. So if you guys don't know, bar oil goes in the front of your chainsaw. That string that holds that on there is so wound up. But these are pretty cool. I don't know if you've ever seen these before. I kind of just put some markings on here myself. Mixed gas, 50-to-1 ratio, and then bar oil. So this is a split tank, and this basically carries twice as much fuel as it does bar oil, so which is perfect. Husqvarna makes this. I think it's right on there. And I just put this strap on there so I could easily, bring this around the woods with me. But this is super handy, and when when you're using your chainsaw, you use twice as much gas as you do use bar oil. So the tank for the gas tank is twice the size, and I just overfilled that, so now I'm gonna have a sticky mess probably. But what's really cool is this filler cap on this side. For safety caps, this is pretty cool. So this pulls straight down, and it really, it reveals where the fuel is going to come out of, and you can lock that so it won't move. But basically, that kind of bottoms itself out. So once this is full, I don't even have to do anything. It'll just shut off from pouring in there. I think I'm almost out of fuel in this tank. Oh, there it goes. So that topped me off right there. Put these back on. I know that's going to overflow, so I'm going to wait and get a rag. Oh, goodness. Way too much. That's going to smoke and make a mess. So now that the saw is fueled up, I just remembered that the rigging ropes I lent out to my dad, so I don't even have those. So we'll have to go assess the trees, see what the situation's like, and see if we can get anything cut. If not, we might just buck up the ones that I did cut down the other day, which if you didn't see the YouTube short, I did make a short video about that. Let's get this going. Let's get our gear on. We're gonna take the lawnmower out, fill up this wagon, and get going. Dad bought me this lawnmower one time when I was out on vacation because I just kept complaining about having to push mow my lawn. And just since I bought the Super Split, I put this trailer ball on it. And it's not ideal, but I've been using it to pull my wagon around. I just put one of those double straps on there and it works good. And before you want to comment, I know that this handle could come off and I could attach it right on there, but it's too many things to flop back and forth when I want to tow the Super Splitter around too. So this is just what I like to do. We got this makeshift fence gate here. This house was a little bit of a fixer-upper, so we're working on it. So I know this looks a little rough back here, but this is kind of what we got going on. We're working back here. This big dead tree right here, you can see the bark falling off it. That's our problem child. So I'm gonna get these other two trees bucked up. And I got a couple trees that need to fall out of the way, but that's what we're working on. So I know that like height and dimensions and everything is extremely difficult to see on video, but this tree that's lost its bark is quite large. And my house is right there. So I've been working on trying to get this cleaned out so I can drop it this way. It doesn't really have much of a lean into the yard. Just a slight lean, but not much. So kind of what I've done so far, and you can kind of see it has not worked out all that well, is I broke off a couple branches by pulling them with my rope pullsaw. So you can see right there, I broke that one off, and then I broke off, or no, that one just fell. So that end of that broke. So I've been trying to get some weight off of, this side so that I can help push it this way. A couple weeks ago, I dropped these two trees. That one's definitely going to be firewood. This one could be firewood, other than the fact that there is a big poison ivy vine growing up it. So that really bums me out. So I dropped those, used the pullsaw to pull them that way. I'm definitely going to still try to clean them up, but the one, I don't know how much I want to get involved with that poison ivy. I want to get this stuff cleaned up, all this brush, and then I'm going to clean up the branches from this. And what needs to happen is this skinny pole tree right here sadly needs to go. I just don't want this tree to get hung up when I do go to drop it. So that one's got to go. And then this guy's going to have to go as well because it grows right where I need it to pull. So to be able to get the throw ball up there, to not get it snagged, I just need those two trees gone. So it's going to kind of stink because it's going to leave this giant opening here. I'm going to lose my trees. And then eventually, just a sidebar with this trees that need to come down, that guy right there is also completely dead. It's winter, so you can kind of see, I guess we're testing the mic's wind blocker today, but you can see it's real windy out. So I don't know how much I'm going to cut. This guy I can push with my hands, so I'm just going to cut that one. I don't even know if I'm going to cut that one because I don't want it to fall towards the house. And I don't have any of my ropes because I lent them out to my dad, and I completely forgot about that until I came out here. So just going to try to do some general cleanup, make this work area safe because next weekend is going to be go time to try to drop that guy. I do believe anyways. So that's kind of the plan. I got to get these rounds kind of cleaned up. Right now I'm using them to hold that temporary fence. I didn't mention this already, but I dropped that tree branch, dropped it on the fence and broke it. Obviously, this all needs to get cleaned up. That tree is really pretty. If anybody knows what that is, comment below. But I'd love to get these stained. It's a work in progress. I did the inside of the house. It's not even fully done yet. And now I'm working on all this. So got this awesome hill behind the house. That's about 250 feet to the top of the hill, vertical rise. And it's maybe only 100 yards. So about a foot of horizontal travel for every foot of vertical travel. So it's a very steep hill. So might not show up on camera, but it is a big deal that I get these kind of cut down. Just kind of cleaned up. So let's see what we can get done today. Definitely going to buck up that one and probably these branches for firewood poles or firewood rounds and at least get that much done. This is kind of my makeshift fence for the moment. I put up this cattle panel because it was super cheap and it was a good way to fence in the yard for the dogs. Maybe I'll have the dogs come out in a little while, but this is kind of my makeshift gate to keep them from running away. I'm just gonna bend it around so that I can access this and still get up. Kind of PPP, personal protective equipment, PPE up here. I really like wearing these metal hard hats whenever I'm falling stuff, just because I feel like if some kind of widowmaker comes down, it's not going to smash my head with this, or less likely. And it just makes me feel like I'm a Pacific Northwest logger, but you know, wearing my New York sweatshirt. I got a funny story about this sweatshirt. Let me just share real quick. And I think about it every single time that I wear it. When I first started hunting, I was like 18, 19 years old, and nobody really taught me how to hunt, and I didn't know how to process my own deer, so I took it to a processor, and this might have been the second year I was hunting. I had taken it to one, I was really happy with it, and I think they were full for whatever reason, so I took it to this other guy that I had driven by and saw deer processing advertised, and I walk in there and I'm wearing this sweatshirt, and they like laughed at me, and I'm like 19, I'm nervous about stuff like that, and they like laugh at me and they're like, "What are you, a tourist?" And like some other snide comments, and they're all laughing, they're all smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and whatever, and I was just like, just dropping off a deer, whatever, and awkward, just uncomfortable about the whole thing. And ultimately I got that deer back. It was a doe, thankfully, if I remember correctly anyways. And well, not that it matters. I don't like wasting meat anyways, which is why I do my own now, and I can at least know exactly what's happened. But basically, that thing tasted like cigarette smoke. And I know that they were just smoking while they were cutting up my deer, and probably everyone else's there. And I will never go back to that place. I would never recommend that place to anybody. But I ended up throwing away all the meat because it was so foul. It just tasted so bad. So every time I wear this sweatshirt, I think about that. So anyways, let's get working. Let me get geared up. I'm going to put on my chaps. I am going to probably wear some Bugs goggles just to keep stuff out of my eyes. Actually, I'm not going to today, I don't think. I'm just going to be bucking. I need to go get my tape measure and chalk so I can measure out 16 inches. I really like having perfect 16-inch cuts. Hopefully this wind isn't too bad on the microphone. But I really like to have good 16-inch cuts. Just helps my whole bundling, sales, everything up front go really well. So let's get working. So I just bought like a cheap pack of sidewalk chalk off Amazon, and I just use my regular tape measure. That's kind of what I've been doing lately. There's probably better ways to do this, but it is really windy. I almost just lost my hard hat walking. So I'm hoping that the mic sounds good. I did watch a couple clips. It sounds really good. I'm very impressed with it so far. I think I'm going to cut this little tree down. I'm not going to cut that bigger one. This one, like I said, I can just push over with my hand. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to mark up this other tree. Just kind of see where the day takes us. I get these ear protectors from Harbor Freight. They're really cheap, and I like that they have this that can go behind the head so I can wear them with a hard hat. Yeah, crazy windy. I'm going to just move you guys so you can see this get cut, and yeah. I think what I'm going to do is cut this like waist height just so I can clean it up easily. That thing really leans that way. I think I should be able to push it though. It's only about a 6-inch pole. Let that just warm up for a minute while I get this stuff pushed out of the way. It is so windy. Hopefully the audio is okay. I'm gonna get this thing out of this tree too. Just noticed it. We actually have a burn ban right now in New York, so a lot of this branches and stuff I can't even really do anything with. Stuff like this I'm not the best at cutting. They're so small it's hard to get like a good face cut or anything like that. But I'm gonna try. Saw is cutting really good after doing a little sharpening. That was perfect. I wish I was kind of had you guys further away so you could see how awesome I lined that up down the fence. I love cutting stuff. I would do this every day if I could. It's perfect. It's a long tree. I'm probably going to end up cutting it right about here somewhere. I could probably firewood pull most of that stuff. That's going to all just be burn barrel, brush pile burn stuff. So, got that done. Feeling good. Well, I think we'll hold off on this guy. It's just too big for me to push like I just did that one. And it's got a little lean and it needs a rope, I think. So, let's get some stuff bucked up here and make some progress. So my tripod has a little bubble level on it, and right now it's level. So might give you a little better idea of how steep this is. I'm gonna mark out this guy. This is the one covered in poison ivy. I don't really know what to do with that. If you guys have any suggestions, please, by all means, leave them in the comments. I don't think anyone wants to buy firewood that's got poison ivy on it, and I don't really want to look at this tree down here all the time, but I don't really want to get poison ivy myself either, so. Good looking firewood. So I got a good amount of that bucked up. Obviously there's more to go up there, but I'm gonna leave that stuff for right now because it's kind of mixed up in there. I'm gonna get all this pulled down so I can load it in the wagon. I gotta cut the other side of that log yet. I'm gonna try to mark this out, get a little bit of firewood out of that. Have one go away astray over there, but there's the beast we gotta cut down. So I'm thinking, I haven't even looked at this yet. Maybe I'll measure it now, but this is a big tree for me, man. I haven't cut down a tree this big, I don't think ever. So just trying to see, what we got here, but that's my 20-inch bar. That doesn't even come close. And down here, obviously I'm using a metal tape measure. Yeah, it's like, divide that by 3, it's like just about 98. So you divide that by 3, you're right in that 32 mark area. So that's a big tree. I'm gonna have a lot of firewood out of this. I'm looking up at it. I got some branches that lean this way, but it doesn't have like an actual genuine lean to it. So there's a nice crotch way high up, probably 60 feet up there, that I'm gonna tie a ball, or throw a ball into and tie off to a tree over there. And I'll probably run a second one down to the tractor and have that kind of where you guys saw me come through that gate. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Get this thing done. It's aimed right at my bedroom, so every time it's windy, I'm just waiting for this thing to fall on my house. And I probably should have some kind of arborist do it, but you can only do what you can do. I just emptied out the wagon, and I'm just gonna load up these rounds. If you haven't seen one of these before, now I lost the name of it. Oh, what is this called? Hookaroon. But they're super handy. You can kind of just hook the wood, and if you yank it out quick enough, you can kind of throw with it a little bit. For it. And no, I like to be good at. Trying to position this so it doesn't fall out. Dump this. Get out of the rain. Garden tractor. Discovering a bit of a learning curve. I accidentally muted my new mic, so missed a little bit of audio. I just picked up those last rounds right there. Put them here. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to spin the splitter around. This thing's really easy to move around. I mean, it's still 500-600 pounds, but a lot of leverage when you have this tow hitch on here. So I'm going to spin this around so that the outfeed is right where I want to stack this wood. And then I'll be able to easily kind of grab that. But I'm going to end up stacking the wood right here. I just had these leftover deck boards, and I just, raised my little pile up. So just going to kind of cut, split. That's going to be it. I haven't done any long form content on this splitter. It's really good. Super split, regular model. I just realized my hour meter fell off. I had an hour meter stuck on here, so I'll have to get that mounted back up there. But it starts really easy. It's got a great Honda engine on it. I ran it out of gas the last time I ran it, so it might not start first pull, but it should start pretty quick. Let's see what we got. Second pull. Choke off. Fire it up. I'm splitting up bundle wood, so I want small splits, just like that. Doesn't that just make some pretty firewood? Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.